5 years, we have tripled our sea power, and our naval air power alone has increased more than 20 times. But we still have a long way to go. Our aim has been to clear a path to China, some 1,900 miles west of the Marianas, to cleave the Jap-Pacific Empire, and at the same time keep them on the defensive along a seafront 6,000 miles in length. This was Surabaya on the island of Java, farthest south among the conquests of Japan. This was 1942, when the Dutch destroyed their oil wells and refineries, among the richest in the world. But the Japanese rebuilt them and added the oil of Java and Sumatra to their tremendous resources. Today, the shoe is on the other foot, as our liberators hurl tons of bombs upon this Jap-held source of power. Carrier-based Helldivers roar with the vengeance of a powerful new name in the Pacific, as swooping down on harbor shipping, the big new SB2Cs write their deadly initials on tankers and transports anchored there. Oil and 100-octane gasoline are lifeblood to machines of modern war. And here are the contestants themselves, American 100-octane gas carrying destruction to the stolen oil of Japan. Yes, the shoe is on the other foot on the southern front today. But in the north, too, from Paramushiro to Wake and Marcus Islands, the Navy is pounding home the punches. Sometimes they call it neutralizing. This is an idea of how they kept neutralizing Wake, while at the same time they were hammering home the knockout blows at Guam and Peleliu. Below lie supply ships from Yokohama and Osaka, and there are the streams of tracer bullets clearing the decks and cutting a path for the bombs that will follow close behind. That's what they call neutralizing. They're keeping Wake inactive while they carry the attack closer to the industrial heartland of Japan itself. For now, at last, Tokyo, Yawata, and other centers of Japan are within our reach, and the great distances that isolated Japanese production have been overcome by the superfortresses of the 20th Air Force operating from inland Chinese bases. Airfields painstakingly cleared and leveled by the hand labor of hundreds of thousands of Chinese. General Chennault congratulates the crews, battle-hardened flyers that are among the best in the world. It takes a railroad tank car of 100-octane gasoline to fill up one of these giants. Gasoline that must be flown in over the hump in 55-gallon drums. But they pack a big wallop, these B-29s, aimed at the steel mills and aircraft factories of Japan itself. One of the newest developments giving Navy fighters the ability to take off with heavier loads in shorter space is JATO, military abbreviation for Jet-Assisted Takeoff. Each jet unit is an engine in itself, delivering a rocket-like thrust equivalent to about 330 horsepower. Using these units, Navy fighters can cut takeoff runs in half. Flying boats like Mariners and Coronados can carry bigger loads. After the craft is airborne, a release controlled by the pilot drops the exhausted jet unit. There's Eastern Aircraft's big torpedo bomber, the Avenger, one of the most important offensive aircraft in the Pacific today. And there's the indispensable Wildcat, which with the Avenger has piled up record-breaking production totals for Eastern Aircraft. With Saipan and Guam overcome, the action now concentrates in the Philippine area. The Pacific Theater had already commanded a large share of the discussions at Quebec where President Roosevelt and Prime Minister Churchill promised the destruction of the barbarians of the Pacific, and where their combined staffs conferred on the broad general policies for the accomplishment of this aim. But the old problem of war in the Pacific remains. Supply lines are still thousands of miles long, and offensives eat up equipment. This was the pattern of recent attacks on Peleliu and Morotai, like those at Guam and Saipan before. The pictures look much the same. Most of the men are the same men that have done this job before. And the same old death is waiting to gamble with them on the beach. Yes, it's the same sort of picture. They've seen it more than once. They've laughed and joked and said, as we might, "This is where I came in." But they've fought and bled and died and won the second and third times over, and they're still at it. These are some of the men in a moment between attacks, Men's Corps. They know the story of war in Europe, and they'll cheer the day that brings Germany to its knees. But it will be a short cheer, and with it a prayer for the strength and courage to finish the job, for they have a lot left to do. The men who fly the fighting planes from a pitching carrier deck will cheer as loudly as anyone at home when the news from Europe breaks. But no news will break their determination to finish the whole world job as fast as possible. The Japs aren't going to quit to cheer the news of Germany's defeat. Neither is Task Force 58, the 3rd Pacific Fleet, or any other unit in the Allied offensive in the Pacific. Their fight continues and will continue as long as there are targets to be reached. These pilots bring greetings from the men and women who build the Navy's planes. Greetings of fire and flame and rockets, as the riveter and the welder join the pilot in punching home the determination of our industries to see the battle to its end. In 7 days, the 3rd Fleet accounted for 870 Jap planes and 73 ships off the Philippines and Hong Kong. And the United States Navy has established its superiority in the Pacific. But there's no time for cheering yet, as these fighter pilots know. For war and war production haven't got time for recess. Only overwhelming strength can gain objectives with a minimum of loss of time and lives. And only overwhelming effort in the production of offensive weapons can guarantee the safe and soon return of those we long to walk with once again in peace.